you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
Play it on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick podcast, your #1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K, on the run. S-I-C-K, sick, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K,
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 S-I-C-K.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. The Eye Test with Pierre, McGuire, and Jimmy Murphy.
The Stanley Cup winning Colorado Avalanche And after 22 years, Raymond Mark!
The sickest NHL podcast. It's gonna be sick.
That's right. Welcome back to another edition of the Sick Podcast, The Eye Test. I'm producer Shayne, once again filling in for our dear friend Jimmy Murphy as he is battling one nasty virus, Pierre. I mean,
I'm just glad he's doing better.
Yeah.
I mean that. Jimmy's a tough guy, and he's battled pretty hard through the last 10 days or so just to be on the show. And you could tell things weren't doing so well for him at the beginning of this week. So first of all, I'm glad he's feeling better. And secondly, I'm really grateful to you, Shayne, for jumping in here and doing such an awesome job. It's been great to work with you. And I will just say this, knowing Jimmy, he will be back next week, even if he's not 100%, but he'll be back and ready to go.
Oh yeah. That is one tough customer. And you know what? He's beating the hell out of that virus right now. So we're thinking of you, Jimmy. Take care of yourself. We'll see you very, very soon. But in the meantime, Pierre, we're here. We're going to talk some hockey. And there's plenty to talk about. And you know what? I'd like to start, and I'd like to actually spend quite a bit of time on this particular team because they personally fascinate me. And that is the Seattle Kraken. Okay, not enough is being talked about with that team. Listen, they're a weird team, Pierre, and we've talked about them a little bit, but I think it's worth diving in deeper. They are set to face the Flames tonight, and in their last 10 games, they are the worst team in the league. 1-8-1. They are dead last this season in goals scored. They've only scored 77. Now, here's the interesting part, okay? I did my research, went on Puckpedia, and I tried to figure out, okay, what could they do? Which direction could they take? Because this isn't working, right? They have, get this, 13 contracts with some form of no movement clause. 13. That's bad, Pierre. Like, they have a good prospect pool, but they have a lot of veteran players. They're kind of in this middle gray area right now where they don't really have a direction. And we've talked about that they don't have an identity either. What the hell is going on, Pierre?
They're going to find out by the middle part of this year exactly what's going on. Lane Lambert's up against it big time, the coach there. If you look at it since they've been in the league, Dave Haxtell hired, fired. You look at the second coach that was brought in. He was coaching their American League team. He won a Stanley Cup in 2009 and hired, fired. Now they're on to their third coach, Lane Lambert. Danny, the reason why I don't say his name is because I hate it when coaches get fired and people rip into them. But Danny Bilesman was a Stanley Cup winning coach. He was a guy that took their farm team in the desert. Coachella Valley, took him to the Calder Cup final against Hershey. What bothers me the most is I hate it when teams fire coaches, head coaches, and assistants stay on. Don't like that. There's something that's not right about it. And that's what they've done some of that in Seattle. And I'm friends with the guy that runs the team, and I'm friends with the general manager of the team. And I know one of the owners really well, Mitchell Garber, who I really think the world of. As a businessman, as a sports person, as an NHL owner, I respect the heck out of him. But something's not right there. And I've been saying, when everybody, I don't like to run with the herd. When everybody was saying Seattle this and Seattle that and Seattle this, and I said it to Jimmy numerous times, and you were there, Shayne. I don't like their identity. I don't know if they have an identity, and I think it's going to be a tough slog for them. And we're finding out that potentially that's what it's going to be.
It's alarming, really. And, personally, I grew up in Montreal. Obviously, I'm still in Montreal. I'll always root for the Habs, right? But I have a special place in my heart for the Kraken. I really, really want them to do well. The newest franchise, aside from the Utah Mammoth, but the newest expansion franchise. Great city, great sports city, great fan base. The arena is incredible. The jerseys. I really want the Kraken to be a household name in the NHL. I want them to do well. But, man, they were dealt a tough card to begin with. Teams learned a lot from the expansion draft with Vegas. They were well prepared for Seattle, and they suffered the consequences. But I think I understand the idea behind wanting to go for it right away, and building that fan base, right? Building that hype in the city around the Kraken. But I think that kind of hindered them quite a bit, right? They have a good prospect pool, but it could be a lot better.
I think they miscalculated their marketplace. And I'll tell you why I say that. There's no NBA to deal with. The University of Washington, Gonzaga, those are all big basketball programs. University of Washington football, Washington State in football. But they're not programs that are infringing on the Seattle Kraken. Seattle's been a really good hockey market for a long time. I used to go out there and watch the Seattle Thunderbirds in the Western Hockey League, and like big crowds, huge crowds. They played in the same building as where the Seattle basketball team played before they moved out of town. So like it's a really good hockey city. And look at the built-in rivalry with Vancouver, the built-in rivalry with down the road in San Jose. Now it's way down the road, but in San Jose, like they're built-in rivalries, instantaneous rivalries. And I don't think they had to like swing for the fence right away. And I agree with you. They did try to swing for the fence right away, and they haven't hit it out of the park. I'll tell you that. They did not hit it out of the park. Athletically, I think fan-wise they've done a good job. But I'm starting to see empty seats there. I watch their games. I'm starting to see empty seats there, which you didn't see the first few years they weren't in the league.
No, it's concerning. And the fact that, Pierre, they're in this gray area, the gray area that you want to avoid at all costs, right? It's like you're not good enough to make the playoffs, but they're also not bad enough to be a lottery team every year, right? They have those veterans that are keeping them in the running, but again, they're not good enough to make the playoffs. So that gray area, they need to get out of it as fast as possible.
That's a good point. It's fair. It's not being mean to anybody. It's just being fair about them and where they stand right now. There's a lot of merit to what you're saying. Philadelphia was stuck in that situation for a very, very, very long time. Mm-hmm. And because Danny Briere and Keith Jones got really proactive, they're kind of getting their way out of it now. The bad news for them is Ty Forster is going to be out 5 to 6 months in Philly. He was a very important offensive piece for that team. We'll see whether Rick Tock can keep it together. They're going to play like if fans watch their game with Montreal the other night. Mm-hmm. That's kind of how they're going to have to play the rest of the way. They're not going to have enough firepower to get it over the finish line playing a wide open game. So tonight will be interesting. They play in Buffalo tonight. Talking about Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Big game in Buffalo for them. Buffalo's kind of rolling a little bit. They got a new GM. They've won 3 in a row, Buffalo. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting to watch. But getting back to Seattle, at the beginning, and I know Jimmy and I talked about this a lot, I just said they didn't have to swing for the fence that soon, and they did. And the upset over Colorado kind of maybe gave them some juice. Yeah. But there's been no more since then. There's been nothing happening since then.
No, there's very little to be excited about. But moving forward now, I'd love to get your opinions on the matter, because they have so many restrictions with those contracts. It's going to be hard to kind of commit either way, right? Which direction would you take if you were managing the Seattle Kraken?
Well, I would try to persuade some of the older guys that maybe have those no moves. There's some on defense or some up front. Mm-hmm. You can't trade them all, but I think I'd try to say, hey, look, what can we do here? Can we make some form of an agreement where you would want to move on? I wouldn't do it so much to the player. I do it more to the agent. And it's not because I'm trying to break my word. I'm trying to help the player go to a better place, to give him an opportunity to try to win. And also I want to try to, stock up my cupboard as quickly as possible. So you don't have to make it. I've been in it where I've seen people be really mean about it. And I've been on the other side where I've seen people try to be really civilized about it. There's one player in particular I'll never forget. The GM was really nasty towards a representative and really nasty towards a player. And I remember we were able to get it as a group calm down. And so eventually the player did get moved. It was a good deal, but for both sides, but it wasn't what I would say was a the art of the deal, the perfect way to do it. Let's put it that way.
Wow. That's unfortunate. No, we don't want to see that, but it's going to be, a lot of work for Mr. Bottrell. That's for sure.
Hey, listen, Bottrell's got a lot of work to do there. Ronnie France got a lot of work to do there. Ricky Olchuk, who's the assistant GM's got a lot of work to do there. They got a lot of work to do. And, I was at a couple functions with Jason not very long ago. One was the memorial for Ray Sherrill at St. Lawrence, and the other one was at Ray Sherrill's son's wedding in Boston. And we talked about their group. And, I know Jason's aware he's got work to do, and I think he'll do it. It's going to take time.
That's it. Now, funny enough, Vincent Joyal, one of our loyal listeners, is please tell me they trade Beniers to the Habs. Okay, so, but this is interesting, though. I want to touch on Matty Beniers for a second, because he won the Calder Trophy his first year in the league, right? Came out swinging, great season, but it feels like they've put too much on him too soon. He's been that number one center. I don't think he's built to be that number one center. Are they ruining him? Like, is because this isn't his chair, really.
So I'm going to just be totally blunt with everybody. And Shayne, you can tell all our great viewers and listeners, we didn't rehearse this, just like Jimmy and I don't rehearse this. I've been watching Matt Beniers play since he was 10 years old. He played for the South Shore Kings and his line mate with a kid named Brett Berard, who just got sent down by the New York Rangers to the Hartford Wolfpack. So they played together for 5 years with the South Shore Kings, and their biggest rival was a team called the Mid-Fairfield Blues at the time. I was only aware of it because my son was on that team. So was Scotty Morrow, who plays for the New York Rangers right now. Yep. So there were a lot of those kids, all of them from both teams, went on to have really good Division I careers. I never felt, whether it was in World Junior, whether it was at University of Michigan with Matt at the development program with the U.S., I never felt that he was a first-line center. I always felt, and I still feel, elite second center who you can win the cup with. Elite second center. But I think he's not a number one center. That's not a knock on the player. The player is outstanding, but he's like really good too. He's part of a profile you have to win the cup. He's just not at the top of the profile. That's all.
No. And it's funny that Vincent talks about Beniers being traded, which probably won't happen, because Beniers is one of the few guys without a no move clause, which is hilarious.
He got the big ticket there too. I mean, they took, I bet you when Ronnie Francis watches Matt Beniers play, he probably sees a lot of himself in Matt. Matt's a diligent checker. Matt's a better skater than what Ronnie was. Matt can really skate, but I don't know if Matt's got Ronnie had amazing offensive upside. And he fulfilled it clearly. He's a Hockey Hall of Famer. Ronnie Francis was a very important part of the Hartford Whalers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, Carolina Hurricane. Ronnie was a really important player for all those teams. Yeah. Even the Toronto Maple Leafs, where he played near the end of his career. But I think Ronnie sees a lot of himself in Matt Beniers. And that's when Ronnie was on the top of his thing and he was winning Stanley Cups in Pittsburgh, he was a second center behind Mario.
There you go. Well, listen, the Kraken are an enigma for now. Hopefully they get a sense of direction. They get an identity sooner rather than later, because we both want that market to succeed.
Yeah, it's an important market. I agree 100%.
But now going more positive, there's a team, though, that is on a tear, and they are the top team in the Eastern Conference. And I hope Sound the Siren is watching here, because we're talking Carolina Hurricanes, okay? They are the top team in the East by 5 points. So they're building a cushion right now. They're on a 5-game win streak. But they have a 3-goalie rotation that is a bit confusing. Right now, it's only a 2-goalie because Freddie Anderson hasn't played since December 4th. But it's been Brandon Bussey and Pyotr Kochetkov that have been splitting the net a little bit here. I don't think you can send, Freddie Anderson to the AHL like the Habs did with Montembeault. In that regard, right, the 3-goalie rotation, it's kind of been working for the Hurricanes. Do you stick with that, or do you try to make a move here?
Well, first of all, Bussey's got a chance to be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year. I still can't believe Boston and their organization let him go for nothing, but they did. I watched him play in the NCAA tournament a few years back. He was playing for Western Michigan, and I watched him go head-to-head against Devon Levi, who was, I considered at that time, one of the outstanding prospects outside the National Hockey League, and he faced him down in an overtime game in the NCAA tournament in Worcester, and he beat him. And I was like, boy, this Bussy kid's a lot better than what I thought. And he went on, and Western Michigan had some, real good success, obviously, and he turned pro, and I thought Bussy played really well in Providence. He's a big kid. He's athletic. He's thick. So I don't think they're doing anything with him. All he does is win. Kochetkov is up and down, but I think his athleticism is phenomenal. Freddie's never won in the playoffs, so, you got to be careful, Shayne. He's never won in the playoffs, and I think that's a big question mark. Carolina does historically very well in the regular season. The test is what they do as the playoffs go along. Now, the good news for them is Slavin's back, and that's really good news for them. Sebastian Aho is playing unbelievable. Mm-hmm. They've got great role players there, phenomenal. Like Martinook is one of the better role players in the league. Jordan Stahl's a really good role player. Seth Jarvis, to me, he and Aho, not enough people. If they were, let's just say they were in a Canadian market, both those guys, everybody'd be talking about them, but they're not in that market. So it's hard. They're both elite players. So I think Carolina's a good team, and I couldn't say enough good things about their coach. I really, I can't. Yeah. Brind'Amour's a really good coach. He really is. He's an unbelievable coach. I don't know how close it came for him to go to Toronto or not. I have no idea, because I know there were a lot of rumors that he would go to Toronto before they hired, the group that they have there now, obviously. But, he's a heck of a coach. And that coaching staff, like Timmy Gleason does such a good job with their D, and Jeff Daniels does such a good job with their forwards. They never get enough praise as a staff. They're an amazing staff. They're really a good staff.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's funny. Yesterday we were talking about a little bit with the Martin St. Louis discussion. Brind'Amour was one of the guys we brought up in terms of coaches that players want to go play for, right? So he's incredible. But you mentioned something interesting here, right? The fact that the Hurricanes are always good in the regular season and the first 2 rounds in the playoffs, but when it gets to the Eastern Conference Finals, they just can't get past it.
Well, they run out of jam. They run out of juice. It's a hard, I've been through it twice at the team level, and I went through it probably 16 times at NBC, and before that at least 20 times, in the final, like part of it. So I guess you'd say almost 25 final, like involved over the course of my career. The thing that stuns you is if you don't have the depth of a franchise, if you don't have enough good players, after the 3rd round, you hit the wall fast. Mm-hmm. You see it. It's just too hard. It's too long. It's 2 months of treachery and unbelievable punishment. It really is. And that's where I think we talked about it last year. I said this is going to be the ultimate referendum on analytics. It didn't work for him last year. Yeah. I gave him a mulligan. I said, we'll give him 1 more year on it. We'll see how it works this year in the playoff. Not the regular season. I have no doubt their team is well built. I do. I have no doubt about it. But we'll see where they are in the playoffs. We'll see where it pans out.
So my question to you in that regards, what are they missing? What do you think they need to target before the trade deadline to make that team a team that can go far and potentially go all the way?
I think they need a little bit more physicality. So you see what a guy like Tom Wilson brings to the party. You see what a kid like Nick Dowd brings to the party in Washington. Like people say, well, how's Washington do this? How do they do that? They do it because they got these undervalued assets that are nasty. I talked about Martinook. Martinook's a good player, but he's one guy. Jordan Stahl's getting older. Jordan Stahl was drafted by Ray Shero. It was Ray's first round pick.
Wow.
And he took Jordan Stahl ahead of Jonathan Taves, just so everybody knows. So Jordan's had an amazing career, but Jordan not getting any younger. It's hard. No. And so I think they need a little bit more depth in terms of the depth players, and their stars are not overly large. So they could use another big kind of nasty piece of business that can create some offense for them.
I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but you just described Kiefer Sherwood, and he's been in the trade conversations. Is that a name they should inquire about?
They should. I think they probably have. Here's my biggest concern about him.
Okay.
He was bringing the heat at the beginning of the year, and he's a guy that needs a contract at the end of the year. So he's a super motivated kid. There's no doubt about that. And I've seen his brother a lot, was involved with his brother a little bit in the American Hockey League. So the family's industrious, they're hardworking, they're proud people, they're good kids, both of them. Here's the biggest question I have is, what playoff track record as a manager are you going to build off of? Because you really don't have one. So so my question is, and this is what I'd be doing with my scouts. This is an exercise just to take inside baseball. I would say to my scouts, let's track a weekday, a 5-day week. Let's track a 7-day week. Let's track a 10-day 2 week, and let's track a 14-day 2 week. So we see all the different. We see mood swings. We see production. We see lack of production. We see fatigue. You see everything.
Yeah,
I would do it that way. And I think if you did it that way, just looking at him right now, I still think he's a valuable asset. But how are his numbers over the last 10 days?
There you go.
No, I'm just curious because I don't, I study it so hard and I watch, but I don't know the exact numbers. So it's an easy breakdown. If you look at what his numbers have been over the last 10 days, I don't think they've really stood out.
I can give them to you right now.
And if I'm wrong, I'll apologize.
No, because I mean, at the beginning of the season, his shooting percentage was outrageous. Like it was incredible. So last game, no points. Game before that, no points. Game before that, a goal. No points, 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 no points. An assist, 2 assists. Yeah, it's cooled off.
So my point is, if you do the 5-day test, you do the 7-day test, you do a 10-day test, and you do a 14-day test, and you put them all together, you'll be able to tell whether this guy has staying power or not. And right now, I'm thinking that maybe not. Especially, there's been some turmoil there, obviously, in Vancouver. But it depends what the price point is. If they're asking for, silly ask, 3 components or 2 major, I'm not doing that.
No, that's it.
No, I'm not doing that.
That's it. But then again, this is going to be interesting. And this year in particular, you've talked about it at great lengths about how this is the year of the manager, right? This is the year of the scouts. The trade deadline and the weeks leading up to it are going to be cinema, right? It's going to be incredible. We're going to see some overpayments here because there are only 6 teams right now today that are below 500, which means there are a lot of teams that think that they're in the running, that think they could be buyers, and very few who are going to be sellers. This is basic economics, folks, okay? The supply is in high demand, which means it's going to cost more. Therefore, a player like Kiefer Sherwood, if you got a bidding war going on, well, some team is going to overpay for him, and it's going to happen for a lot of other players. This is going to be really interesting to follow, Pierre. Am I on the right path here?
That's why I didn't interrupt you. I love what you were doing. I love where you were going. I think it's a really smart way to pursue it. Here's my other little concern. We shut down the league in terms of trades tomorrow night, Friday.
Yes.
Roster freezes tomorrow. I don't hear a lot going on right now about any of these. So if the roster freeze goes for a while, like you're talking, a lot of these teams won't be able to amalgamate. If they do make a deal, let's just say now, then I think they got a chance. But if they don't, they're probably not amalgamating those new players till after the first of the year. You've lost a lot of. So let's just use Winnipeg as an example. They're in trouble. They're in trouble. They lost 1-0 last night to start a road trip. That is very, very difficult before the break.
Yep.
They're slipping fast. And we talked about it, and it's interesting. We talked about it the other day, you and I. I said, when you play against that team, right now, the only thing you need to do to beat that team, and it's not easy to do, you need to shut down Velarde, you need to shut down Scheifele, and you need to shut down Kyle Connor. If those guys don't score, they can't win. They cannot. They just don't have enough firepower. So if you read the press clippings from after the game last night, all the guys, we had to shut that line down. And we knew if we did, we were going to win.
Yep.
And that's so if we're saying that on the eye test, and St. Louis is saying that. You don't think the whole league knows that? The fans might not know it, but the league knows it because that's how the league works. Everybody gets paid to do this full time. And so you always look for the other team's potential weakness. And the weakness for Winnipeg right now is they don't have enough diversified offense. So if that's the case, you got to shut down the offense that's really critical for them. And if you do that, you beat them. You beat them a lot.
It's crazy.
It's
crazy. And you know, there's going to be a kind of not another deadline per se, but another turning point in terms of trades. And that's going to be the Olympics, right? There's going to be moves in and around the Olympics here. And so that's going to be another point to kind of focus in on. But, you know, since there are only 6 teams right now below 500, which date do you think is circled on a lot of teams' calendars saying, okay, this is going to be the difference maker? Like if we're in at that point, let's buy. If we're not, we're going to sell.
It's a really good question. And there's no way to be completely accurate on it, but I'm going to say January 15th to me is coming up quick. It's going to be a very important date because I'm still of the belief, and we'll see if it holds true, that if you get to the Olympic break, so the first week of February, if you get to the Olympic break and you're double-digit points out of a playoff spot, you're not making it. You're not going to be able to make it up. So the 15th gives you an opportunity. If you are double digits by then, it gives you an opportunity to shrink it. But you got to, if you're double digits out, you don't have enough players, and you know it as a manager. So you're going to have to make some moves. So I just got to check one thing because I had a conference call yesterday. And I just want to make sure I get the dates right. So if I get the dates right, then you'll know what I'm talking about here. Hold on. I'll be right there. Here we go. The 21st of February is the day before the gold medal game.
Okay.
Okay. The 18th is when the women's gold medal game is just before the day before. But the end of group play for the men is February 15th. So I give it a month. So that's why I say January 15th. If you're not locked and loaded to have your team ready for the sprint by then and you're double digits out, you're probably not making it. You're probably not going to make it.
Wow. It's a gauntlet. It's going to be a crazy, crazy.
It's going to be hard. And there's always a surprise team. There always is. St. Louis in 2019 was a surprise team. Everybody knew it. You know, even Washington in 2018 was a surprise team. There's always a surprise. But in this case this year, I don't think so. And that's why I said what I said to start the summer. This is the first time that I think if you don't have really smart GM and you don't have a really smart and creative pro scouting staff and you don't have an owner that's prepared to see your vision, I don't care. It's not going to happen for you this year. I'm telling you. The team that wins will have the best owner, they'll have the best GM, and they'll have the best people around the GM, and they'll have the best pro scouting staff this year, 100%. That's what it'll be.
Well, that date is coming up fast in less than a month. We're going to get a better sense of who's in, who's out, who's going for it, who's not.
Yep.
Pierre, before we get to sponsors, Q&As, is there anything else you're keening in on from last night for tonight's games? What's on your mind?
Look out for the Florida Panthers. They've won 6 of their last 7. They beat LA last night. I thought that was going to be a massive test for them. They were able to do it. They beat them 3-2. LA is a really good road team. Huge night for LA tonight. I can tell you right now, LA lost last night in Florida. They go into Tampa tonight. They better not lose that game tonight. I think if Tampa beats LA tonight, we could see some mayhem around the LA thing. I do, and they'll probably shoot it down, but I think something will happen around that group. I don't know whether it'll be a trade. I don't know if it'll be somebody being replaced, but they're kind of lurking now. They don't want to waste the Kopitar last year. They don't.
Yeah.
And it's Kenny Holland's first year there, and I don't think he wants it to be a non-playoff year either. So I think you're going to see, and it's not just, by the way, it's not just for LA. And I know they went after some people when it was leaked out that Pete DeBoer might go there, whatever. I said it to Jimmy, and I mean this, and it's no disrespect. Look at the coaches know I got their back. Like I was so mad yesterday when I saw Ottawa fire David Bell. I was so mad yesterday. I talked to David yesterday. Fantastic coach. He was a teammate of mine. He's a fantastic human being. I was so mad at that. We're got to stop blaming all these coaches. They have a mediocre team in Belleville. They do. That's the roster. That's what they have. They don't have an elite team. They got a mediocre team because they've used all their prospects to come up and play in Ottawa, and they got a good team in Ottawa. They have a very good team in Ottawa. But when Pete DeBoer is available, and he is, I'm just telling you, if you're a coach of a team that's underachieving in your owner's eyes and your GM's eyes, the worst nightmare you have is Pete DeBoer hasn't been hired yet. It's the worst nightmare you can have, because when somebody's of that caliber and is available, you could be in trouble as a coach. You could be. It's the reality of the business. When I was coaching in the league, that guy was Mark Crawford. Everybody wanted Mark Crawford. Everybody wanted Mark Crawford. So if you were the coach of a team that wasn't doing well, you were like, whoa, this Crawford could take my job. You know, and it wasn't Mark's fault. Mark's a friend of mine. No, it's not his fault. That's the reality of the business. So there's some years where there aren't those guys available. DeBoer's available. And if you're a coach of a team that's underperforming, you could be in trouble.
And to your point on the Kings too, the loss of Darcy Kemper, assumed to be, I think, confirmed to be a concussion. That's a big whack there.
Hey, legitimately, and you're so good at this. You're like Jimmy on this. You're thorough. The truth is that Darcy probably had played his way onto Team Canada, but if that's a serious enough situation, he may not be going on to Team Canada. And so that might open up a spot for Blackwood. That might open up a spot for Logan Thompson. You know, nobody knows. But if he's out for a long term, that's going to be a problem for LA. That's going to be a problem.
Big time. All right. Let's get to our partners at the Sick Podcast, the Eye Test.
Yeah.
Come on. I got to start off with my friends, the amazing people over at Vago Italian. They have been open for 23 years. That's longevity. That is a testament to how good it is over there. I'm sending my buddy Josh over there on Tuesday. Okay. Nice. I told him, tell him the Eye Test sent you. All right. So he's going to be taken care of by our buddy Tommaso. But listen, they have private dining rooms for any occasions, birthdays, engagements, corporate meetings, and even retirements. They have plenty of free parking after 6. They're open Monday to Saturday evenings and lunch Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients, old world Italian, new Italian. Come see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount, and you gotta try that chicken parm. It will blow your mind. Seriously. All right, and a big thank you, of course, to our partners at Betway. You can bet the beauties with Betway and get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. You can scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your welcome offer. The offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. The offer is not available in Ontario. You must be 18 years or older, and please play responsibly. Are we ready for some questions?
Let's go.
Run him, Sammy. Let's do it. First question comes from our boy Juice. Yes, sir. Thoughts on the players that got cut from the Canadian World Junior team? For those who are not aware, those players are Jake O'Brien, Merrick Van Acker, and Jackson Smith.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's such a hard team to make right now. And it looks like Canada's this is a roster they're going to have. They win 2-1 against Sweden yesterday, a pretty tight defensive game. Game was played in Kitchener. Solid game. I thought the line of Martin, McKenna, and Hage was really good. It was Canada's best line. Carter George, who's an LA Kings draft pick, was pretty good in goal for Canada. Yep. So I think, it's one of the worst and most difficult decisions you can ever make. The World Junior selection process, it's so hard on the kids and the coaches and the management. But I can kind of understand. I see where they're going with it. And Canada, the last 2 years at the World Junior have been very good, Shayne. You know that. I know that, and the fans know that.
You're being kind, Pierre.
And so, all I'll say is they can't have that happen the next 2 years, because it's in Minnesota this year. There'll be a lot of Canadians there. It's in Edmonton next year. So this is a good dress rehearsal for a lot of these guys to be ready to go over the next 2 years.
Yeah. It's going to be exciting. It all starts December 26th. All right, next question. Vincent, back again. Hello, gentlemen. I hear other pundits talk about moving Slav for a second-line center. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Slav must have much higher value than that, no?
He does, depending on who if you were to tell me the second center was Peter Forsberg in his prime, I would do that deal.
Yeah, that's it.
But again, like, he played behind Joe Sakic, but there are not a lot of guys I'd say, yeah, I'm trading Slav for that guy. Not the way you have, and we've talked about this. Wait till he's 23. Wait till you see how good he is when he's 23.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trading Slav. There's a reason why he went number one. Look at all the guys at the top of the scoring charts in the NHL. They're all first overall picks. Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Connor Bedard, Macklin Celebrini. They're all number one overall picks, like Slav.
Yep. No, that would be a monumental mistake, because I don't think you'll get proper value for him. I really don't.
No,
this is not a move.
Who wants to trade him?
I don't know. Vincent, if you can maybe call out some of those pundits in the comment section, but yeah. I don't know. That's not us.
I wouldn't trade him. I'm just being frank. I would not trade him.
No, that's it. All right, next question. Hendricks asking, what do you think the future of Kirby Dach and Arbor Xhekaj are? Do you see them as Habs long term?
Depends on Dach's health. I would say there's probably more of an opportunity that he's not back. Mm-hmm. Xhekaj's important because of what he does for potential for physicality against some of their more skilled players. But you never know. I mean, if somebody comes in and starts really let's just say Caden Gooley's back. Let's just say Caden Gooley's back by the end of January. Let's say he is. You think Arbor Xhekaj is going to play more than Jaden Struble? I don't think so.
Unlikely. And then you got Adam Engstrom, who's been not too shabby himself.
The good news for Arbor is he's playing on the right side, even though he's a lefty. Yeah. The good news for Arbor is he can play on the other side. Until Reinbacker's ready, that's good for Arbor. The problem is going to be when Reinbacker's ready, and that's not going to be too far down the road. Then what happens?
Yeah.
And that's why I just don't know the philosophy. It depends on what the manager's philosophy is in terms of how you want to pursue your roster build. Because if you deem that you need to have a nuclear deterrent like Arbor can be, then he stays. If you think that's not important, then he goes.
Yeah. And we wish Kirby Dach health. For crying out loud. This poor kid does not catch a break. Nope. Just get healthy. Seriously. That's all we want for him. Anyways, next question. GB is asking, Suzuki or Horvat for Team Canada?
There are a lot of people that are saying Scheifele.
I think people are kind of assuming that Scheifele is going to be on, and then it's between Suzuki and Horvat for the other spot. I think Pierre LeBrun reported something along those lines that like Scheifele and Wilson are pretty much on, and then it's between Suzuki Horvat. I think that's what GB's asking about.
Yeah, we'll see on all that stuff. But if I were forced to make the decision, I would probably take Nick over Bo, because I think there's a skating element to it. Not a knock on Bo, by the way. I'm a huge fan. He could tell you the day he got drafted, we had the best talk down in South Florida. It was awesome. But I would probably take Suzuki. No, not probably. I would take Suzuki. I would take Suzuki.
Can do everything. Yep. Incredible player. All right, next question. Renaissance Resistor. Should fans worry about the Team Canada roster based on Pierre LeBrun's report that I just mentioned there? Kind of mentioning that, the roster is pretty much set with a few spots here in limbo. I find it very strange that Matthew Schaefer isn't a lock over Bouchard. I apologize. I didn't see Bouchard's name mentioned in the report, so maybe I missed that. But I mean, they can't do that, Pierre. I mean, let's be honest here. They can't do that.
So Renaissance Resistor always has these great points, and I really admire the way he presents the points. Here's what I'll tell you. What's really shocking to me, that somebody would actually say that to a reporter that's on the management team.
Yeah.
I'm really stupefied by that. That's not how it used to be. I can tell you right now, no chance. And if you ever got caught leaking back in the day, you were in trouble. You would get in big trouble.
Yeah.
So I don't blame Pierre. LeBrun's got a job to do. He's just doing his job. It's not his fault.
Exactly.
I'm shocked that somebody on that management group would actually disclose the final, couple names publicly, because I don't think that's fair to the players. I'm being honest. I don't think it is. I would have Schaefer ahead of Bouchard. I can't. Bouchard's blast from the point is great. I get it. I totally get it.
He's got to be insulated.
Yeah, but Schaefer's just so much better defensively. He can transport the puck. He can pass the puck. He can score big goals. And you know what? When we get the next Olympics, obviously in 2030, Schaefer's going to be the man. You want him to get a taste of this now, so it's not going to be a shock to his system when he gets there in 2030.
Could you imagine that? 18 years old going to the Olympics.
Oh yeah, well this kid's really special. He really is.
Unreal. Yep.
Superstar.
All right, next question. Torched. Doug Armstrong recently came out and said that no one is untouchable. What sort of return would it take to land a player like Robert Thomas or someone of that nature?
Pretty significant.
Robert,
that's the one, and Tony Marinaro could tell you last year, that's the one I wanted Montreal to get last year. And he wasn't getting traded last year. Look what he did to get St. Louis into the playoffs. But Robert's an outstanding player. He's a really good teammate. He knows how to win. I watched him do his chores in 2019. He was up one day, down the next, but he really did his chores, and he never complained about it. He'd be a real good fit for any team in the league, including St. Louis, but that's going to cost you to get him. It's at least two major components. It's probably 3-component deal. It's going to cost you to get him.
Mm-hmm. No, they're not going to give him out for free. That's for sure.
No way.
All right, next question. Billy Van Vago. All right. Why was Cam Abbott fired? We talked about this a little bit last show, but from all accounts, he was a good coach with a winning record. Does Cal Foote have something to do with that? Ooh.
The coach had nothing. First of all, the coach had nothing to do with Cal Foote being signed. No. Coaches don't sign players in pro hockey. Management people and scouts do. Coaches, and this is the line they get told all the time. I'll get you the players, you coach them.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's the line that always gets thrown at coaches. And I've been on both sides of it. I've been on the management side, and I've been on the coaching side. I've been on the coaching side as a head coach. I've been on the coaching side as an assistant coach. I've been on the management side at the top of the food chain. I've been on the management side just below the top of the food chain. And I've been down at the lower part of the food chain. So I know it from all different angles. The coach had nothing to do with that player being signed. Zero.
That's it.
Zero.
All right, next question. Gabriel Lamb, do you see Brendan Shanahan getting another chance at being a GM?
He was never a GM to begin with, first of all. He was the president of hockey operations. He has no experience to be a GM, even though he was a president of hockey operations. I do think he will land another job as president of hockey operations. I do.
Mm-hmm. I think a lot of teams are kind of going in that direction of a two-headed monster, kind of like, the Montreal Canadiens with Kent Hughes, Jeff Gorton. That's becoming a lot more popular now.
I remember bringing this up about 14 years ago on Mitch Melnick's show. And Jeff Molson kept saying, not a chance. We're never doing that. That's not the way. And now one of the best examples is Montreal having Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes. It's really a good marriage, and it's very, very good for the organization. Absolutely. But their owner didn't want to do it a long time ago, I can tell you that.
Well, you know what? I don't know what the expression is, but something about fools never changing their minds, right? He's adaptable. He's a good owner.
Yeah.
Well done on Jeff Molson's part. Next question. GB again. Pierre, how deceiving can advanced stats be? Listen, the name of the show is the eye test, so I think we got a pretty good answer.
They are unbelievably deceiving. So, like one of the things, expected goals. What happens if there's like, what does that mean? So you're expected to score and you don't. So what does that mean? Like what happens if you score from center ice, like Jacques Lemaire did in the 1971 Stanley Cup Final? You know what happens if you're Kevin Stevens in a one face-off in Game 3 of the Stanley Cup Final, gets shot from the point and it goes off your derriere and goes in? Is that an expected goal or a non-expected goal? Like, I had no idea. So all I'll say is this: I think you can use numbers; they can help you in certain things. But if you're building your whole scouting vision behind that, you're doomed to fail. Yeah, you're doomed to fail. I'm just telling you. There's been no team, not one team, that has won the Stanley Cup that is a straight analytic only team. Not one. Not one.
It's only a tool. It cannot be the entire shebang, right? Like
Correct.
You cannot solely rely on that. You can use it as a tool.
I will never, ever, ever go against a scouting fraternity. They are so important to the welfare of the National Hockey League and to all of hockey. Scouts are amazingly underrated people, and they're really, really professional at their job. They really are. They work their tails off. People won't believe this. I talked to a scout yesterday who lives in Saskatchewan, and they got blown up with a storm. I'm telling you, they got savaged with the storm yesterday and even into today. And he was still thinking about going to a game. When I was talking to him, I said, "Are you nuts?" And he says, "Oh, good news." I said, "What's that?" He goes, "They canceled the games." I'm like, "What? Why? Because you were thinking of going, you meathead?"
Wow.
Oh yeah, I told the guy. I said, "You're crazy." And I've been out there in some unbelievable storms, and it's unbelievable how hardy the people are that live out there and how much they want to go watch hockey. But at some point, you got to say enough's enough. So I think the scouting fraternity is so underappreciated in the National Hockey League. I really do.
Well said. Well said. Absolutely. Next question. Hendricks, Habs are losing a lot of faceoffs. That's a fact. What is the most possible second line center scenario? Number one, the Habs are waiting to see what happens with Pittsburgh and with Sidney Crosby. Number two, the Habs go get Ryan O'Reilly. Number three, the Habs settle for Philippe Danault.
O'Reilly would be a great pickup if they could get him. I don't think Sid's coming to Montreal. I maybe I'll be totally off base on this, but if Sid's leaving Pittsburgh, I think Sid's going to Colorado. I really do. I don't think Sid's leaving to go anywhere. If he leaves Pittsburgh, I think the only place he'd probably go is play with his buddy, Nathan McKinnon out in Colorado. But I don't know. I mean, think about their team. If you think of just for 1 second, you had Sid. So it's amazing. So Brock Nelson becomes your third line center. It's setting up pretty good for them if they get Sid. But they'd have to trade, a plethora of players too. They've got some that they can afford to trade. I'm not going to mention their names because that's not fair to those guys. But they got guys internally that they can afford to trade.
Wow, that'd be something. All right, let's get to the next question. There he is, our boy Jimmy. First off, thank you to my amazing teammates for being there for me this week, and to our iTest community for your support. It means a ton. And I know Jimmy has a part 2 here. His question for us, with their lack of depth on the right side of defense already and their injuries, could the Tampa Bay Lightning make a push for Rasmus Andersson?
They could, but I'll tell you another team that could make a big push for Rasmus Andersson. I watch them all the time. The Ottawa Senators.
Oh, that's a good one.
Speaking of a team that needs a right defenseman, the Ottawa Senators. So as much as Tampa maybe wants to get in the race, the Ottawa Senators might be one of those teams to watch out for when it comes to Rasmus Andersson. I'd be watching them pretty close.
That's one player, Pierre, that, we talked about the bidding war. He's going to get a lot of calls.
Oh, my gosh. Jimmy and I both thought, and Jimmy knows what we talked about both on and off the air. I really thought he was going last year. I was shocked he didn't go. And when you see – I really thought Noah Hannafin was going to end up in Boston. I really did. I was shocked that Calgary put him down in Vegas, only because eventually you're going to have to go through them, you know?
Yeah.
So I was really surprised. I thought they were going to put him back in Boston where Hannafin's from, and it would have been an easy negotiation to get him done. And I think it would have helped the Bruins. That being said, Calgary's, you know, they battle every game. I can't believe how hard they battle. It's unbelievable. They deserve a lot of credit as a coaching staff there. Ryan Huska really deserves a lot of credit. He really does.
Well said. Absolutely. All right. Next question. Bill Van Vago. What are team Christmas parties like? Any fun stories for those you have attended, Pierre? And do teams sort through mail sent to players? I'm thinking if a fan sends a player a Christmas gift, do they get them?
I think now there's security for all the mail stuff just because you never know what you're going to get. But most of the players, they get gifts. They get requests to sign autographs for pictures or hockey cards. Most of the guys are really good at it. I mean, I remember once, and I wasn't a player, I was a coach. I'm coming back from a long road trip, and I had a stack of mail like this high, and it was just for autographs or people that wanted a letter sent to their child or whatever. And it took time, but I'd always make sure you get it done. I think most of the players are pretty good. I've never really heard the players don't want to do that. It might not be their favorite thing, but I think they still appreciate doing it. In terms of Christmas parties, I've been to a few good ones. Brian Burke had a really good one when I coached for him in Hartford, a really good one. And he gave maybe one of the coolest gifts ever. He had his and hers really nice bathrobes created. He got everybody sized, and it had the Hartford Whaler logo on the chest part of it.
Yeah.
And it was really well done by Berkey. I thought it was a great Christmas party there. The Pittsburgh Penguins parties were always good. We used to have a thing called Penguins at Your Service. And so there was a dinner where all people would buy a table, and then we'd go there. And then after the dinner, we'd go out and have a nice time. It was really good. In Ottawa, 2 different times, great Christmas parties. And Mr. Melnick always sent really nice gifts. Eugene was really nice, and Mr. Bryden always sent really nice gifts. And I remember our owner in Hartford, Mr. Gordon. This is before CDs actually were really the big thing. He gave us all CD players. Like nobody even knew what they were. We're like, what is this thing? And it was a CD player that we could bring on the road. Like everybody got one. It was pretty cool. Wow. So yeah, I never really had a bad Christmas event with any team. They've always been fun. And the ownership of most of the teams are really generous when it comes to that. They're really good.
Oh, that's sweet. Well, listen, last night, the Sick podcast, the Sick family had their Christmas party, and we had it at Souvlaki Authentique in Kirkland in Montreal. We missed you, Pierre. We wish you could have been there. The food, oh boy. I mean, I'm still digesting. Like we ate like pigs. It was phenomenal. It was great. Had a great time there. Sat down with Brian Wild, who will be on with you tonight. Yeah. Post game, Habs Blackhawks. Had a great discussion with him. Just the whole Sick family, A1 plus.
Right. Unbelievable. Yeah. This group is amazing to be a part of. It really is. It's so good. You look what you've done. Look, Juliana, who does back, Sammy, everybody, and everybody working. Rosa, I mean, it's amazing. I'm so grateful to everybody that's part of it. Jimmy, we need you back though, because Shayne's got another work to do. He's got other work to do. He's moonlighting here. He's doing me a favor. It's all good. It's all good. Who do you like tonight? Who do you like tonight in the game? And
listen, I'm always going to step in here.
Is there one game you like?
I mean, I'm going to be watching Habs Blackhawks, of course. Listen, Spencer Knight's good. Spencer Knight's really good, but I don't know how good that team is without Bedard.
They're not the same team for sure.
No. So I'll take the Habs on that one. Yeah.
So I'm going to watch one that I'm going to be really interested to see how it goes. And that's going to be in Washington, D.C., the Toronto Maple Leafs. If they don't ambush Washington tonight, after Washington lost to Carolina last night, that's not a good thing for Toronto. After, coming out of the depths of defeat or potential defeat the other night against Chicago, the way they pulled that off, if they don't use that as a resounding motivational tool, I don't know what it will take to wake those guys up. So if they have a bad start in that game against Washington, I'm thinking Toronto's in big trouble.
Oof. Yeah, that's going to be one of those teams with that January 15th circled around there.
I think so.
They're going to have some decisions to make. Let's just say that.
I agree.
I'm going to have another show very soon, so we'll only take 3 more. Okay. And then I gotta bounce, unfortunately. But
I understand.
Let's get to that first one here. Vincent, again, do you see the New York Rangers moving on from Alexis Lafrenière?
I think at some point here, if they don't get going, there's probably an opportunity that they will look to move him. For whatever reason, I don't know why it hasn't worked out, but it has not worked out. They play in St. Louis tonight, the Rangers. They're like the Toronto Maple Leafs. They got a chance to ambush a team at St. Louis in a back-to-back. Rangers were sitting and cooled out watching the game last night. So they got to – yeah, I think at some point if Lafrenière doesn't get a little more traction, I think he probably will get moved.
It's unfortunate.
Yep.
Next question. Torched again. Pierre, Jacob Fowler has played 3 games. What do you think of his starts? He looked great in Pittsburgh, but the next 2 were shaky. Is that a product of Montreal's defense or a mix of both?
I think it's a combo. I really do. I didn't like his game in New York. His rebound control against Pittsburgh was phenomenal.
Yes.
I thought his rebound control against Philadelphia was really good. Obviously, the play behind the net, nobody liked that. And even he didn't like it.
No.
I think he's going to be just fine. In fact, I know he's going to be just fine. He's a young player breaking into a really hard league with a defense that's maybe a little less than what it should be right now. I think Gouli's such an important part for Montreal, and it hasn't been brought up enough. And now all of a sudden it's starting to get some traction. But Gouli's always been an important part of this process, and they've missed him for a while now.
Big time. He's huge. All right. Final question. Hendricks, as a coach, what story do you use as an example of perseverance?
I think anytime you have a player that's been hurt and you see how hard they've had to work to get back into the lineup. Another one that I would use is the way Marty St. Louis, when he was part of the New York Rangers, handled the death of his mother and came and played unbelievably well. And I interviewed Marty during that. I was working for NBC then. And that was a perfect testament to perseverance. And I think all the players recognized that as well. But I think more than anything else, it's when a guy gets hurt and all the players know it because they all have the potential to get hurt. And to see how hard a guy works to get back, I think that's the ultimate sign of perseverance. I really do. I'll just use one more that I thought was really classy. The Dallas Stars, when Utah was in Dallas to go play, they had a situation where one of the players' father had passed away. And they named that player on the road the first star of the game. And I thought that was another example of class of the Dallas Stars and perseverance by the Utah Mammoth and their entire team. Really was impressed.
For me, growing up in Montreal, and I talked about him yesterday, he was my favorite player growing up, right? Saku Koivu coming back from beating cancer. Unbelievable. Like that, I mean, that's special right there. There are so many great examples of that, Pierre. I mean, we could ask the
Mario. Hey, Mario.
Mario did it.
I covered 2 games where guys came back from cancer. One was Mario. TSN sent me down to Pittsburgh to cover the game. It was Toronto versus Pittsburgh. I went down and did the game. And then Saku Koivu in Montreal. TSN sent me. I wasn't living in Montreal at the time. TSN sent me down to Montreal to the Bell Center to go through the Saku Koivu game. And it was in both instances. That was a perfect example of perseverance. You're spot on. Perfect.
Absolutely. Well, that will conclude this episode of the Sick Podcast, the Eye Test. Pierre, before we go, anything you'd like to add?
No, Jimmy, we miss you, Shayne. I can't thank you enough. And get better, Jimmy, and look forward to tomorrow afternoon. Jimmy will not be on with us tomorrow afternoon. I made a management decision. I want him to rest up and be ready. So, Shayne, one more run with you and me tomorrow, baby.
Let's do it. I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm ready. This is so much fun. I love doing this with you, Pierre. Love the comments. Love the questions. Can't wait to be back again tomorrow. Just, plugging my own show here as well. Snake and I recorded an episode of the Trust the Process. It is out now as you are watching this. It is out. So I invite you all to go check it out. It was another fun one. It was our last of 2025 because Snake is actually spending the holidays in California, more specifically in Anaheim. He wants to check out those Ducks.
Wow, Snake, good for you. That's awesome. Have some fun. That's good.
Yeah, that'll be great. But we'll be back, you and I, Pierre, right here tomorrow, 4 p.m. live on the Sick Podcast, the eye test for Sammy and Agnello and Master Control. Thank you. Thank you, Pierre. I'm producer Shayne. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the eye test with Pierre McGuire and Jimmy Murphy on YouTube, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.